Hi, I'm Candy Underwood, the Family and Consumer Sciences Agent here in Cumberland County.
Hi, I'm Krista Johnson, and I am the Family and Consumer Sciences Agent in Bladen County.
And welcome to Tasty Tuesday. Today, Krista and I thought we would share with you some fair foods. As you know, our county fairs and our state fairs have been canceled, so we thought we would have fun today and make some candied apples, and maybe something you've never tried is chocolate-covered bacon. So let's get started.
The first recipe that we are going to demonstrate today is a fair season classic. If you've ever walked around the county fair or the state fair, I know you have seen hundreds of kids walking around with red candy all over their mouths from eating the classic red candy apple that you find at the state fair. So we are excited to demonstrate this recipe for you today for two reasons. One, it is so easy. And the second is it is so much more cost effective than I could have ever imagined. So this is a fall season treat that is easy to make and inexpensive for you to make at home. So before we jump into making our candy apples, the first thing we need to do is make sure we wash our apples under cool running water to make sure we get any debris off. The second thing that we're going to do to prepare our apples for the candy coating is we are going to stick these wooden sticks into our apples. And so this is actually very easy. These sticks are about 6 inches long. They have a slightly pointed end, and so you just want to make sure your stems have been removed from your apple and grab it kind of close to the end so you have more control pushing it in. And then you're just going to push that into the top of the apple where that stem was, and so it will be firm into the apple and it will be ready to dip. But again, before we jump into our candy coating, I have one more tip for you, and that is if you happen to notice that your apples have a coating of wax on them, that could prevent the candy coating from actually sticking as well as it should. So in order to remove that from your apples, what you're going to do is you can boil about 6 cups of water on the stove, and with your apples, with the stick on them, you can dip your apple into the boiling water and hold them there for about 5 to 10 seconds and lift them out, and that should remove any wax that's actually on your apples. And so with that said, let's begin.
Okay, now that Krista's gone over how to get your apples ready for your candied apples, I'm going to show you the process for actually making your candy. So the first thing you want to do is you need a heavy pot to do this in, not a thin pot, because it will probably stick and it will probably burn. But the first thing we're going to add is 2.5 cups of sugar to our pot. And then we're going to add a cup of water. That's our cornstarch. Cup of water. And then 3/4 of a cup of cornstarch. And we're going to mix this together. Before we take it to the stove, and as well as before we add our candy thermometer. But I do want to show you the candy thermometer if you're not familiar with it. That it does attach to your pot, and it'll actually give you a soft crack, a hard crack. And for this recipe, it's recommending 300 to 310 degrees for a hard crack. But if you prefer a soft crack, you can go between 280 degrees and you should be okay there. So we're going to mix this together. And then we'll add our red food coloring to make that nice red color that we're used to. And it's 3/4 of a teaspoon of our red food coloring. All right, now that we have our mixture all mixed together, we're not going to stir it anymore. We're going to take it to the stove, but before I do that, I'm going to attach my candy thermometer And we're going to bring this to a boil over medium heat without stirring, and we're going to let it cook for about 15 to 25 minutes. We decided that we were going to go to a soft crack on our candy. That way it's not too hard for us to bite into. And another thing I wanted to share with you, when you are coating your apple, just tilt your pot to the side and be really careful, because this candy coating is really hot. And of course, this is something that you probably just want your kids to watch. But some of you may not have a candy thermometer, and you can actually use just a cup of water. My grandmother used to do that little trick, but you have to keep testing your syrup. You would just drop your syrup into some cold water and until it actually will form. When you drop it in that cold water, it'll actually look kind of stringy, and when you pull it out, it'll hold that shape. And that way you know it's come to the right temperature for your candy if you do not have a candy thermometer. So we're just going to keep turning it. They look pretty, don't they? And there's your candy apples. And you just let them sit there and let them get their hard shell on them. And if you want to sprinkle anything on them, you can. And once they get hard, if you want to put some cellophane around them and put a little bit of ribbon and give them as gifts, you can. So there's your Fair Food candy apples. Okay, now for our chocolate covered bacon. What I've done is I put my bacon in the oven at 400 degrees. That is the simplest way to cook bacon if you've never cooked it in the oven before. It comes out perfect. No, it's just a nice straight piece, and that's perfect for this. So I baked it for about 15 to 20 minutes. I put it on a pan and let it drain. You want to make sure you get all the grease, the fat off of your bacon before you coat it. Now, I melted my chocolate in the microwave at 30-second increments. Each time I would stir my chocolate till it came, to the consistency that I liked. And you can either drizzle the chocolate on your bacon, you can dunk your bacon in your chocolate, however you want to do it. So I'm going to drizzle a few, and then I may try to coat a few. And then I've also have some sea salt crystal flakes. I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but they're actually like little crystals. And I'm going to sprinkle some of that on top of the chocolate once I get it on my bacon. So let's drizzle a little bit. I'm just going to take a piece out and just kind of go back and forth like this. Okay, for this piece, I'm just going to hold my bacon over my bowl and just kind of let my chocolate kind of drip down it. If you want to coat your whole piece of bacon with chocolate. Who doesn't like bacon, right? Sprinkle some of the salt pieces on it if you want it. Really, I really don't think you would need it because our bacon's already salty enough as it is.
Candy, I am so proud of how pretty these turned out.
They look great, and I don't know if they can see, but it has little bubbles in our apple coating, and we were talking about it looks like the poison apple in Snow White, so I think that's kind of neat.
These would be beautiful as gifts, as party favors. and all around, they're just a really neat treat. That's a little deviation from what we typically do for these
Yes.
Tasty Tuesday episodes, but it's a really neat treat for this season of the year and also for this unique year.
Right, and before Krista goes on, just to kind of interject, when you're making your coating, just be sure you have plenty of time, because during this process it took us about 40 minutes to get to the soft crack. So keep that in mind. It is a little time consuming, but it's worth it in the end because you get a beautiful apple.
You do. So we hope you are as excited about trying these recipes as we were today, and I'm just ecstatic at how things turned out. So we hope you will give these recipes a try at home and tell us what you think. But to end it, we hope you will join us next time for Tasty Tuesday.